pleasant good afternoon and welcome to the afternoon rush. My name is Randolph Critchlow. I want to say thank you very much to those persons joining us internationally in the region and right here in Guyana. Welcome to all who are joining this afternoon, wherever you're joining from, wherever you're looking at us from, if you're in your homes, if you're at work still, if you are in your car driving home, we want to say thank you very much and good afternoon. As usual, we thank those persons for commenting on the live stream, letting us know where you're joining us from this afternoon. It has been 386 days since the March 2nd regional and general elections, and still this country does not have credible results from those elections. 233 days since the fraudulent, illegitimate government would have been installed, and today, as usual, without cease, without fail, they continue to do the things that will eventually hurt this country. We see it over and over and over, and questions are being asked, and of course, no answers are being given by this fraudulent administration. Welcome, Junior Stevens, East New York. Thank you very much for joining the live stream. We want to say thank you very much. As usual, remember to share the live stream. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube also, so don't be stingy with the thing. Ensure that you share with your friends and family and let them know that we're about to unpack some credible and valid information here on the rush, the afternoon rush with yours truly, Randolph Critchlow. We have lots to go through this afternoon, but as usual, we allow others to come in and join the conversation, join the chat, let us know where you're from. Thank you very much. Tuning in from Barbados, Ms. Pigot, thank you very much for joining the live stream. JFK Queens, thank you very much in the house. We want to say a pleasant Tuesday afternoon to all of you who are joining this live stream. As usual, we have a number of issues to unpack, and let's just for a bit of programming note here, guys. Every day we have a particular set of programs. Of course, I'm at 5:30 with The Rush, and then you're in the ring with Sherry Duncan at 8 p.m. We are going to be also trying to bring you Mark Benchcup's show straight up on our page. Hopefully he doesn't clash with Sherry at 8 o'clock, so we can have that extra bit of programming for you. And whenever Mr. Burke is on, we'll bring that also, just to give you an idea of the lineup in terms of the content we want to bring to you on a daily basis. Folks, we are about to get started. We're about to put down this suitcase and unpack all of the issues occurring in and around not only Georgetown, but Guyana and the Caribbean. Folks, we want to start with what I like to deem as bad numbers. Bad numbers. COVID death number 218. COVID death number 218. Right? We have a 74-year-old female from region number 3, Essequibo Islands, West Demerara, who died while receiving care at a medical facility, and an 82-year-old male from region number 7. Right? He died at his home. All of the words didn't fit there. He's from Cayuni, Mazaruni. So we're up to 218 Guyanese who lost their life to this COVID-19. And folks, again, as I say every single day, let's work to keep that particular number down. Let's work to keep the number down so that we do not have more persons losing their lives to this particular thing. Now, we want to talk more about this. And I want to bring this next because as we're talking about COVID-19, there seems to be a silence out of the Ministry of Health. As we would have noted on many shows, many occasions, the Ministry of Health is manned by a 3-man team, all of whom were ministers. All of whom were ministers before. A 3-man team. Folks, but we continue to see the fumbles, we continue to see, the slow to which information is coming out of the Ministry of Health. Right? We see persons continuing at least one a day, going down to this disease, going down to COVID. Right? Somebody's asking about the curfew in Guyana. If you're asking about curfew, it's quite good that you're asking a question, because the curfew is most likely a question. It's not a serious thing. But we're going to deal with that. Let us continue on the work that, or the lack thereof, that we see coming out of the Ministry of Health. Again, this is a ministry manned by 3 ministers, 2 former ministers as advisors, and Frank Anthony. First time he's holding this post as Minister of Health. He was at Culture, Youth and Sport. Folks, I want to bring this up, and you know why I brought this right after we talking about COVID deaths, because we're picking up in the news that, and it says here, Guyana's COVID supply slashed. Guyana COVID supply slashed. Let's bring that up back for you. COVID supply slashed. Wonder why is this so? Guyana COVID, COVAX doses. COVAX, of course, is the people who are providing these vaccines for those countries that are not necessarily the big guns and can afford all of them. But our dosage would have been slashed by 78,000. By 78,000. Well, bottom says 78,000, it's 76,000. And we're getting 76,000 less than was initially expected to receive. The Minister Frank Anthony disclosed this on Monday, folks. You know, we ask, and sometimes you wonder if we're running a cake shop here in this country. This catfish government can't seem to get anything right. They cannot seem to get anything right. First, we have an issue trying to give people the vaccine, because the minister said he ain't taking the vaccine. But they expect people to take it. Now we hear that the vaccine dosage cut by 76,000. We are supposed to be getting 76,000 more doses. But have they explained exactly why this is? Have they explained exactly what is happening to us? Somebody commented and said Frank Anthony is like a blind leading the blind. Because Frank and the 2 ministers can't seem to get it right. We have persons dying in our hospitals. We have lack of supplies. We have a man in Linden, and I'm picking up on a report that we're going to talk about later down. The Linden Hospital CEO cuts ties with several long-standing contractors. We have that happening in Linden. We have supplies near non-existent in some hospital and health centers. We have all of these things happening. All of these things happening. And you can't hear anything as to explain why. Why is Rudy Small still on at Linden Hospital? And now we see a report coming here, and we're going to dig deeper into this. Cutting ties with long-standing contractors. Putting people out to work in Linden. People dying. You know? People dying in the hospitals. No drugs. Chaos under Frank Anthony. Now we hear vaccines are being cut. We get a 76,000, almost 77,000 less vaccine. What is the explanation? Why are you catfishing the people again? Why is it that this government is intent on catfishing this nation over and over and over? I really don't understand. So we're waiting for Frank Anthony, waiting for him. We're waiting on him to explain what really going on at the Ministry of Health. And that should be my question this afternoon. Maybe somebody in the comments may be able to answer us. What really going on with the Ministry of Health? What is going on? We got Frank and the two old tires them can't figure out what's going on. They can't figure out how to curb the COVID. They can't figure out how to ensure that the hospitals are stocked with the drugs. They can't figure out that the Lindners don't want Rudy Small. They're willing to ride it out and hope that the nurses will go easily into the good night and forget about it. That's what they're hoping for, that the nurses will just forget about the fact that Rudy Small lewd, an inappropriate Rudy Small. And by the same token, Frank must be hoping that the country will just forget that he's doing such a piss poor job as the Minister of Health. We hear stories of babies and mothers dying in the hospitals. What is happening at the Ministry of Health? It doesn't seem as if Frank could manage himself out of a paper bag at this moment. Much less help us out of this pandemic. Out of a wet paper bag. It doesn't seem as Frank and the two old tires, Ramsamy and Berry, they can't manage themselves out of a paper bag. But so we are saddled with this incompetence. As a country, we are saddled with Frank and the two old tires and the continued incompetence that we see coming out of the Ministry of Health. That is what we are seeing. And as we unpack this, folks, it is not just for the want of identifying and saying, look, the BBP doing something bad. These were the same people, as I repeatedly said on this show, if a pin drop in Mabaruma Health Center, they made a whole heap of noise. What is Valda Lawrence doing about this pin that dropped in Mabaruma Health Center? They are in there now. You are in that seat. And it seems as if chaos is running wild at the Ministry of Health. Confusion powder, as we like to say, has been sprinkled all over. All over this country with the PPP. Folks, we want to know. I am just highlighting it. Anyhow, what else is in the news, folks? Right. Before we go from this particular topic, actually I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm not going to say anything on anymore. I'm going to leave it at that. I wanted a better explanation from the minister, but I know that there are some prevailing factors before we get to Ganesh Maipal. I know that there are some prevailing factors in the region and around the world that would have caused some cuts. But it seems that Guyana's cut is very significant. But I'm going to continue. What else is in the news? Folks, we know recently Mr. Ganesh Maipal, that Mr. Ganesh Maipal would have been relieved of his public service job And now he is appealing that dismissal. He is appealing that dismissal. As we spoke to you, as we said before, the issue surrounding the dismissal of Mr. Ganesh Maipal. And we explained to you that this was not done in accordance with the regulation. There was no hearing. The disciplinary committee, tribunal committee did not hear Mr. Maipal's case. So he has grounds to appeal this dismissal, and will continue to watch what is happening. Okay? We'll continue to watch what is happening with this particular case. As we continue on what's in the news, of course, we saw yesterday, folks, the continued, as I like to call it, what we will continue to see is this increase in crime in our country. Right? The continued crime in our country. 2 prison escapees still to be identified, with a woman shot. And of course, more recent reports said that they identified the woman who was also shot by police during an operation in Better Hope, Backlands, on the east coast of Demerara. Folks, it is no hiding it. The numbers are there to show you that serious crime went down under the APNU AFC. It went down. We have seen a slow and steady movement back to pre-2015 numbers, PPP numbers, when it comes to crime in this country. When it comes to serious crime in this country, we see a movement, a regression to PPP numbers. And it's a sad state of affair in our country. I'm just highlighting these things because slowly but surely we are seeing this movement back to a state of lawlessness. We ain't even talking about the drug trade. Just the instances of serious crime in the last 6 months have slowly crept and is continuing to creep back to PPP numbers. But we're watching what is in the news. We're paying attention to what is happening. Folks, our big story today, of course, has to do with taxes. It has to do with taxes. Let me just pause this here. Because one would remember that there was a big splash in the newspapers about this case, this court case, that we saw the mayor and city council fighting to ensure that BPAT, who it was alleged owed the city more than $114 million. We saw a big hurrah about the court saying that BPAT owes no taxes. We saw BPAT holding a press conference at which he attempted to, of course, leave out or ban Gordon Mosley. We saw him giving an ultimatum to the mayor that he should come and apologize. That he should come and apologize. Like a little boy. Apologize because apparently he was wrong. Right? But today, folks, we see this report. Let me bring it up for you. Right? Giftland will have to pay taxes once the proper procedures are followed, the Chief Justice clarifies. Quite interesting, you know. Because apparently, BPAT subscribed to the same school of propaganda that the PVP does. So he needed to run this whole big propaganda that he doesn't owe any taxes. Well, we're happy today that the Chief Justice has clarified her judgment. And it's not that BPAT don't owe any taxes. Let us just get into this clarification on what exactly happened. Right? Let's get into that. What really happened with this BPAT case? Let me get into this for you. Let me see if I can shed some light on what is playing out here. Now, on Monday, the Mayor and City Council, they spent part of their statutory meeting watching the ruling and the orders handed down by Chief Justice. Right? In handing down orders, the Chief Justice made it very clear that once proper procedures are followed, the popular Giftland Mall will have to pay up the taxes owed to the Georgetown City Council. Right? The Chief Justice clarified her ruling after it was reported in some sections of the media that there were no taxes owed. Right? And I can tell you which which sector of the media, the newsrooms and the Times, the Guyana Times of the world, and the PVP controlled Chronicle. These are the people who are running this story about no taxes. The Chief Justice clarified her ruling. She said until proper procedures are followed, and the applicant is not liable to pay, but it does not mean that the company will not be required to pay its taxes because they have to. Right? She said, so if it is that the media, and I don't, as it is in the media, and I don't know where they would have gotten that from, that BPAT does not have to pay taxes. Right? If it is that the media is of the view that the applicant is not liable to pay taxes, then they are mistaken, the Chief Justice clarified. Let me read that again. She said if the media is of the opinion that the applicant does not have to pay his taxes, then they are mistaken. I am wondering today, as an average citizen looking on, right? I am wondering as an average citizen, why is it that we right? Why is it that we saw this? Let me just, I'm getting some breaking information. But why is it that we saw this? Alright. Well, we're going to deal with that breaking information in just a bit. But folks, let's just make it clear. You have to pay your taxes. The average man has to pay his taxes. Why does BPAT believe that he is exempt from paying his taxes? Right? So there are many persons who are calling, and of course we are going to be getting to all of that in just a bit. But interestingly, folks, we have a bit of the court proceedings. Luckily for you, we have a bit of the court proceedings that this is between, of course, the Mayor and City Council and BPAT, being represented by Mr. Jonas. And I want to play you a piece of that court proceedings and see if we can add some more clarity to this whole BPAT fiasco. Let's play that for you.
Is it Ms. Clark?
Yes, please, Your Honor. Good afternoon. I appear with Mr. Nigel Hall, the Solicitor General.
Yes. What do the parties have to say about the cost? Did you have a discussion?
I don't think there was any discussion had in relation to cost.
Well, if costs are not agreed, then it will have to be assessed.
Madam, if it pleases you, please, madam, I respectfully, I would have done some research in relation to cost in judicial review matter. I also would have had a discussion with my senior, Mr. Orr. In this regard, what I would have read from the courts in Wales is generally in judicial review matter, costs are normally not even granted. And whenever it is granted, is more or less by with the discretion of the court. Please, madam.
Mr. Wade, we are looking at our rules. It's what our rules say. I do not know what the rules are in England and Wales.
But if you made to,
Your Honor, if it pleases you, when we check our rules,
the court, I think it was, and I think one of my decisions was appealed in that regard. I just made it was considered applying all rules that I was wrong.
If it is, Your Honor.
Yes.
I argued that matter in the full court. It was an application by DDL against a tax assessment. And
was it my
Your Honor had quite understandably done what judges have done in my. I know Your Honor is accustomed to do that, and that's what we've all been accustomed to. And indeed, the rules in public law matters, but the thrust of that appeal was that the court needs to hear the parties. The court always has an overriding discretion, needs to hear the parties, and Your Honor is quite right that if the parties are not in agreement, then there's no choice but to have it assessed. But even that assessment process incurs costs. This is the reason I had suggested on the last occasion that the broad rule of thumb, I had calculated it, I made a suggestion at 4%, which is approximately equivalent
Folks,
to what
we
the
are
strike
going
cost
to
would be if calculated out.
We are going to cut this particular video because we have a bit of a breaking news, and we are going to be bringing you that right now. Very, very interesting, and I have a bit of a video to play for you as we get this breaking news right now. Let me just read what it says here. Fugitive Muhammad Ali, right, who was serving 6 years in jail for a sentence to escape from the custody when on the guard at the Georgetown Public Hospital, said he was paid prison officer in aid to escape from custody. Wow. He paid the prison officer to escape from custody, and we're getting a bit of audio coming out from Big Smith News right now. So we are going to bring that for you. Let me just upload this as quickly as possible so you can hear the exchange between Leroy Smith and the escapee. Quite interesting, quite serious and damning. I want to play the audio for you right now. Let me see if I can get that. Hopefully it uploads. so we can get to hear what was said. This is coming out of Big Smith News. Fugitive admitting that he paid the prison officers to escape folks. We're following it as it happens.
All right, Mr. Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Leroy Smith again. You just called.
Yeah.
So I am recording you on my other phone. Tell me exactly what is it you want to say.
I would like the general public to know that I did not escape just like that. I would have paid $5,000 US for my freedom. I would have had 1 year more remaining in prison, and I was given the opportunity to pay that money and to get out the country. I would have finished so far in prison 7 calendar years, 4 months, and never tried to escape or never had wanted to. But being given the opportunity, I took it.
Okay, did you pay this money outside of prison or while in prison?
I was in prison, but at the hospital.
At the hospital.
Everything was set and planned.
Okay. So what is your concern right now?
To let the public know that I did not escape. I would have paid my money to buy off a year sentence off my sentence, which is I had a year more.
Okay, my question to you now, Mr. Ali, who did you pay the money to? Did you pay the money or somebody paid it on your behalf?
I paid it myself. I had a way to get it, and I paid it in person.
Who did you pay it to?
I would only disclose this information to Mr. Samuels when he's back on duty, which is supposed to be next month.
Why only Mr. Samuels?
Because I only trust him, and if I do get on to Mr. Wilson, then I will give him the names of the person, the 3 persons that is involved.
Okay, 3 persons. What are the rank structure of these persons?
One is a flat rank, one is PO2, and the other one is a Bronco.
Okay. I will get Minister Ben to make contact with you. Is that okay?
Likewise, I'm trying to make contact with him also.
You have his mobile number?
No, I don't have it, but I'll get it.
Okay, I will call, but you see I don't have a number for him to get you back on.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'll try to make contact directly with the office, because in the next half an hour, I will be crossing border.
All right. We're going east, west, north, south.
Pardon me?
Where are you heading to? East, west, north, south?
Wherever the wind blows.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali.
Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome.
Folks, there you heard it. There you heard it, folks. Right, we're getting out of course some Big Smith News, and we thank him for that particular reporting there, Leroy Smith. Folks, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say, but I said today, earlier when we spoke about the increasing crime in the country, that this is something that we have to deal with. And there you go. There you go. The man said he paid 5,000 US to take 1 more year off his sentence. He going across the border and he gone. This is where we're living. This is our country. And you know, it speaks and it reeks of PPPism. I can say it like that. We have seen the slow creeping reversal to PPP era events. Put it that way. We have seen it. This is just one little piece of all of the craziness and the confusion that has happened in the last 6 months. This is just a little piece. Here we have a man who escaped calling to say, listen, I didn't just escape like this. I paid these people, these 3 officers. And I'm hoping that he gets out to the Minister Ben Like, you know who these 3 officers who collect this money, they're probably scratching their head right now. They're probably going to work tomorrow. Everybody can be looking at everybody. Who collect the money? We saw these things happen for 23 years under the PPP. It's no surprise, it is no coincidence you didn't see events like these playing out 2015 to 2020. We're moving towards a professional police force, a professional prison service. It had hiccups, yes. We had the fire, we had this, we had a number of other things happening. But there was a constant movement towards professionalism. And we can point to one of these events every single day and say to you, look, the PPP are back. It's one soap opera after the other. Because these people don't know any way, any different way. They ain't know anything else, Corruption is what they know. Right? Right? But we are reporting, folks, we don't know the validity of what the man is saying. We see persons having back and forth in the comments about whether it's truthful. The role of us in the media is to report. Luckily for me, this is an opinion show. I can share with you news and I can share my opinion. So I'm telling you what is happening. We are not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to juxtapose what is happening now as to what used to obtain under the APNUAFC. And then before that, and you will see the similarities between the last 6 months and the 23 years of the PPP. You will see it. It is no surprise. No surprise. If anybody in this country is surprised at things like this under the PPP, then you really don't know the PPP. You really don't know them. Folks, this is so reminiscent of those years. I think David Granger called it the dark years. The dark years. Well, folks, we'll continue to unpack. And of course, this particular story got more to it because I am sure you're going to see investigations are afoot. The Ghana Prison Service investigating this allegation. Investigations afoot. Let's see what happened. How did this man said that he paid 5,000 US. That's roughly $1 million Guyana dollars to these 3 officers. He know them. He tried to get in contact with the minister to tell them, look, y'all left me alone. Go and I pay. It was presented in such a way that, look, y'all really shouldn't be looking for me because I pay my due. I went in for 7 plus I pay an extra $1 million for take off this year. So I good. Deal with y'all crooked and corrupt officers that y'all got there. Right? Such an embarrassment. Such an embarrassment. But folks, we are going to leave this, and of course, in the coming days, we are going to unpack more of what happened in that phone call. And I'm being asked by some of the persons in the comments to replay the video so we can have a listen before we come off of this particular topic. Let me do that for you.
All right, Mr. Ali.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is Leroy Smith again. You just called.
Yeah.
So I am recording you on my other phone. Tell me exactly what is it you want to say.
I would like the general public to know that I did not escape just like that. I would have paid $5,000 US for my freedom. I would have had 1 year more remaining in prison, and I was given the opportunity to pay that money and to get out the country. I would have finished so far in prison 7 calendar years, 4 months, and never tried to escape or never had wanted to. But being given the opportunity, I took it.
Okay. Did you pay this money outside of prison or while in prison?
I was in prison, but at the hospital.
At the hospital.
Everything was set and planned.
Okay. So what is your concern right now?
To let the public know that I did not escape. I would have paid my money to buy off a year sentence off my sentence, which is I had a year more.
Okay, my question to you now, Mr. Ali, who did you pay the money to? Did you pay the money or somebody paid it on your behalf?
I paid it myself. I had a way to get it, and I paid it in person.
Who did you pay it to?
I would only disclose this information to Mr. Samuels when he's back on duty, which is supposed to be next month.
Why only Mr. Samuels?
Because I only trust him, and if I do get on to Mr. Rosen, then I will give him the names of the person, the 3 persons that is involved.
Okay, 3 persons. What are the rank structure of these persons?
One is a flat rank, one is PO2, and the other one is a Bronco.
Okay. I will get Minister Ben to make contact with you. Is that okay?
Likewise, I'm trying to make contact with him also.
You have his mobile number?
No, I don't have it, but I'll get it.
Okay, I will call, but you see I don't have a number for him to get you back on.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'll try to make contact directly with the office, because in the next half an hour, I will be crossing border.
All right. We're going east, west, north, south.
Pardon me?
Where are you heading to? East, west, north, south?
Wherever the wind blows.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali.
Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome.
Right, so there you have it, folks. There you have it. A bit of a breaking news for you. We thank those persons who were able to send us that information. Let me just so thank you to those persons who sent the information. Thank, of course, to Big Smith News for that, putting it out there so we can share it. And let's continue to watch the ride, as the people say. Watch the ride as more and more things come out of this particular issue. Folks, we've reached a point in time where we only have time for one more thing. So that brings us to this segment we like to call here, One More Thing.
Give me some folk song, let me sing something now.
Right. So, one more thing today. One more thing. What are we talking about in One More Thing? Today in One More Thing, I will be highlighting this attempt, the continued attempt by the PPP to revisit history, and tell you that what we saw in the recount didn't really happen. Folks, it is laughable, and I keep repeating the words of Amanza Walton Desir, that the PPP cannot shake the fact that they can't prove to anybody that what we saw when we opened those boxes was skullduggery. And that will be dragging behind them like a dark shadow until and unless you have that elections petition. But no, they are frightened. They are afraid of the elections petition. So they're going to push it, kick the can down the road as far as possible. So today, I'm going to highlight to you part of the delusion that PPP mouthpieces, PPP, their subsets, their supporters, they're in this delusion because what the recount did was really an embarrassment to them. It was an embarrassment. So they would want Guyana to forget that we opened the boxes. So much so that they they will say that what they saw they didn't see. They will tell you that let us talk about statements of polls. And don't worry about statements of recount. You know why? Although they were sitting in the seat of power based on statements of recount. Because the whole recount process was an embarrassment. Because again, we saw things like 749 boxes without any statutory document. That's a fact. And it has gotten so bad that they want you to forget that. That they're telling you now that it was a lie. Recently, and listen, I'm going to play a clip for you, a 30-second clip. I'm going to play this clip for you. We saw the Guyanese critic. And apparently a PVP supporter and one of his viewers having a conversation about the recount. I'm going to play it and let you listen and make your own conclusion as to where in the mind these people are, where they're in their heads. Let's play this. Let me get it up.
Point. Like, for instance, Ganesh made some point that night. He made some point that night. The boxes was missing and this and that. But
no boxes were missing. Documents. They made allegations of documents missing from boxes. So that was a blatant lie.
All right. So let's go back. Let's bring this back for you. Let's bring it back. Bring it back from the top so we can hear.
That they make, because they will be making point. Like, for instance, Ganesh made some point that night. He made some point that night. The boxes was missing and this and that. But
no boxes were missing. Documents. They made allegations of documents missing from boxes. So that was a blatant lie.
Boom. So here we have the Guyanese critic saying to one of the PVP supporters and one of his viewers that what Ganesh said, that documents were missing from boxes, was a blatant lie. Now this is one of the most obvious things that came out of the recount. One of the most obvious things that to come out of the recount. We had many boxes, not only the 49 boxes from the East Coast that had no statutory document, but we had other boxes from other regions that were missing either 1, 2, or how many ever amount of documents. Right? So we have multiple boxes which are missing various amounts of documents. And then we had the mother lode, which was the East Coast, with 49 boxes with no statutory document. But here we have critic telling his viewer, listen.
Was missing and this and that. But
no boxes were missing. Documents, they made allegations of documents missing from boxes.
Right, first he says they made allegations that documents were missing from boxes. First of all, these are not allegations. This is what we saw when the boxes were open. Everybody saw it. So critic, get it right. Let's get it right. Let's put that right. There's no allegation here. Nobody's making an allegation about documents missing from boxes. GCOM officials were there. You're the people that you were doing PR for, they were there. Everybody saw these boxes without statutory documents. So there's not allegations. So this is what they're trying to push forward now, that there's some allegation. right? There's no allegation of boxes missing. So to the persons who are viewing this show right now, let me make it clear. This is the delusion that we see. Then he goes on to say that it's a lie. Listen. Right?
Boxes. So that was a blatant lie.
That was a blatant lie because.
Right, and then of course the viewer agrees with him and say, yes, that was a blatant lie. And you know what's the irony here, folks? Is that Critical is on his show lying, trying to tell the viewers and this particular caller that no documents were missing from boxes. He's lying and then saying that somebody make allegations about documents missing. Right? For those persons who don't know and who might be on the live stream and thinking, what's happening? But we have come to expect this, as you know, people are saying. Folks, it's 49 boxes. That's the official count. 49 boxes with no statutory document. That's not something we pull out of the air. That is in the records at GCOM. So Critic and his people trying to convince you that no documents were missing. Whether they were deliberately moved or moved by accident, they were not there to verify the votes. So people could dance around this issue how much they want. When the boxes were being audited, there were no documents in them to say whether these votes, where they came from, how they reached in the box, who put them in there, nothing. So the PPP mouthpieces, they can try as much as they want to rewrite history, but history was already written and the facts are there. And that's one more thing for this afternoon, folks. And I say, you cannot rewrite history.
Give me some folk song, let me sing something now.
Right. So, as we say, good evening to everybody. And remember, as I always say, let us continue to work to ensure national development as we continue to see what is happening in our country, as we continue to see the slow creeping, the BBP creeping back to the same playbook. The same playbook that they had before 2015, they're bringing back. So I want to say to Guyanese, let's be vigilant. Let's continue to keep our eyes open. Right? The signs are right in front of us as to who the PPP is, who they are, and things they will continue to do to our country. So until I meet you tomorrow at 5:30. Remember, we are going to be jumping in the ring at 8 this evening with Sheriff Duncan, so we can continue to talk about some of these events that unfolded today in our country. My name is Randolph Critchlow. I hope that you stay safe. Let's continue to work for national development until we meet again. Do enjoy the rest of the evening.